Okay, it's up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5,
Okay.
6. Actually, wait, I should have done it backwards. Um, One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, the audio works. I like that filter. It doesn't pick up. There's two fans right now pointed at the surface, and there's one fan behind me blowing air into. So, okay. Um, Actually, this time around, I'm gonna. I don't know. I just want to talk about something. I believe on the 19th, Netflix is gonna put out a show that I think I will, because of that show, I will probably end up getting a Netflix subscription, because so far there has never been anything on Netflix worth watching until a new show that's gonna premiere on the 19th, and that will be Saint Seiya or Knights of the Zodiac. Uh, it's weird. In Spanish, I am pretty much saying it Caballeros del Zodiaco, which translates to Knights of the Zodiac. But in English, I prefer saying it Saint Seiya rather than Knights of the Zodiac. Weird. Anyway, one thing I want to talk about, it has to refer to one character, even though they haven't revealed much about anything. Andromeda Shun. Andromeda Shun is, of the five, is my favorite character. I don't know, at the beginning, just simply because he had chains. He's the only one with the weapons. Later on, because he's a pacifist, and yet he is severely strong. Like, he restrains himself, trying not to use his full power until it's needed, like I guess in this one, when he defeats the Gold Saint of Pisces. And he even becomes Hades, sort of, whatever. He becomes Hades because he's the purest of heart. But anyway, there we go. This is how the character will be portrayed on the new Saint Seiya. I'm just gonna keep calling it Saint Seiya because I'm just so used to it, and not Knights of the Zodiac. They decided to change Shun's gender to female. Which so nice character drawings. Okay, that went to something else now. But okay, so they decided. Okay, so let's see. There's only 3 of the 4 main saints here. There's Shiru, Seiya, and Shun. Yoga is not here, and definitely Iggy is not here. There's Yoga, but definitely no Iggy. So Iki is the younger brother. I mean, he is the younger brother of Iki. Okay. So basically, Saint Seiya is a old show, I guess. It's older story now. As you can see by this kind of animation. And there's recently I guess a high quality CG film that was released recently. And this is for the new show on Netflix. Okay. See, Netflix. So see, there's even a Seiyapedia. Anyway, so there's this already established story, and they're gonna be retelling it. The story consists of 5 protagonists, right? The 5 bronze saints. Which is there a good picture of the main set? Okay, there's this picture. Let's see. Okay, it has the 5 and a couple additional ones that get dropped early on. Right? This guy over here is Iki, Shiru, Seiya, Shun, and Yoga. Those are the 5 main protagonists. The story follows all 5 of them in their quest to defend Athena. See over here it says along the story the 5 main protagonists Pegasus Seiya, Shiru. How come the other ones don't have the Pegasus Seiya, Dragon Shiru, Cygnus Yoga, Andromeda Shun, and Phoenix Iki have managed to achieve this along with, I guess, okay. Well, they was talking about something else about their cosmos. But yeah, the 5 main protagonists are those 5, and they decided for this retelling to change the gender of one of them to female. Okay, so let's say that decision is done, right? One of them will become female. Is there a better picture of the 5? I want to see a picture of all 5. There we go. Though they're wearing their divine armors at this point. So okay, so there's this 5 group of people, and they decided to make one of them female for a more modern audience, right? I mean, his first appearance was 1986, I guess. So yeah, the series is very old, 1986. He's 1 year old, younger than me, I guess. But anyway, so they're gonna retell this story. And they made changes already, I guess. And they decided that one of those changes is one of them is going to be female. Now, which one will they make female? Right? Iki, Shun, Seiya, Yoga, or Shiru? And so that's what I wanted to talk about today. Actually, Shun is the worst one to actually make female. And basically, how at least how I view it. If I would have been given the mandate, one of them has to be female. How would I thought about that, and which one would I pick, and why I would not have picked Shun? Not just because he's my favorite character. I'm just picking one. Get a drawing of Shun. Over here, he's fighting Shaka of Virgo. Aphrodite, Pisces. Here he is Hades. Shot from him from the manga. And how the armor differs from the manga and the anime. Him wearing the Virgo gold cloth. Him as CG. I think this was during his training. But will Yoga revive or my life force burned out first? And here we have female Shun. Female Shun with the okay. See, there's other bronze saints, and they're the only, and Andromeda is the only one that is made female. Can they make Yabu female? Hydra. He's the lion? Little lion. And that will make him the bear. Kind of don't like that Ursa Major is a bronze saint. Okay, whatever. I think I'll use one of his more actiony poses. This one, either this one or this one. I'll use this one. Did they give her? Yes, they did. The other ones also have the same. I don't know. Okay. Into the drawing. Now I will be again adapting the character into the world of Chronicle Destiny. And I guess since the Mirai have armor like okay, you know what? I'm not gonna make Shun a Mirai, instead a Discom. That will actually be interesting. Okay, I'll make Shun a Discom instead of a Mirai. So now that I'm gonna start here, I'm going to start talking about what the decision of making one of the saints female. being that a decision like that, I mean, the story has already been told. It'd be like, uh, let's say the story of Goku, the Dragon Ball Z saga. They decided to Netflix decided to redo it on CG, I guess, and they decided, there's a lot of males in here. You're gonna change one character to female, right? And which character can they change from male to female, and what changes will be necessary in the narrative to accommodate that, right? Depending on what the ultimate aim is, do they want very little narrative changes to be made, or a lot of narrative changes to be made? Or will they, willing to accommodate the narrative changes to make the character change genders? For example, let's say again with Dragon Ball Z, being that is a more popular, something that people are a lot more familiar with. You know what? I'm gonna use another one that's more accommodating to design rather than an action pose. So I'm just gonna use the default one, this one, whatever. Okay, so back in Dragon Ball Z, if you decided to change one character from male to female, let's say if you were to change Frieza to male to female, honestly, there wouldn't be that much narrative change. It will still be the same. Whatever you decide to change Doria from male to female, again, not much narrative change. Decide to change Boo, the Burrow, basically just about any villain, Cell, right? If you can change the gender of those characters and won't have a significant impact on the narrative, if any. Maybe just simply Goku will be impressed as the strong girl compared to all the girls. He has, only basically Chi Chi and Bulma. But yeah, that's, if Cooler was female again, it'd be Big Sister, I guess. But yeah, those kind of characters don't carry too much narrative challenge. Now, let's say someone like Yamcha. He might pose a challenge simply because he had a romance with Bulma. You can still keep it like that. Let's have a female Yamcha still have a romance with a female Bulma. But that's basically another decision to make, right? With the decision of making Cell female, there really isn't much. Another question that that may change the narrative, right? With Yamcha, well, he had a romantic relationship with Bulma. How are we gonna handle that? Do we keep Bulma as female or do we change Bulma as male? But then Bulma has a relationship with oh wait, I said discount. They're short. Has a relationship with Vegeta. So, and again, it will the question of changing the gender of Vegeta if they change the gender of Bulma because they change the gender of Yamcha. Let's say Krillin. What if they change Krillin's gender? The narrative impact it will have being befriending Goku. Maybe that not. That won't have an impact. But when with Android 16, then again they could just switch his romance to Android 17, and crisis averted basically. Um, what if they change Trunks' gender? That won't have too much of a narrative impact until he gets to Super. But like I said, I'm just counting the DBZ, not Super. And what if they change Goku? Now that's one. How much of the story will have to change? And how much will stay the same? So basically, that kind of questions. Change Goku, change Vegeta, change. You can say changing Piccolo wouldn't change much. One main thing that that affects basically, yeah, if I change the character to male or female, what affects the narrative impact it will have is basically the interpersonal relationships they have with others. Like the main one between Frieza is with Goku, and it's just a well, not just it's a rivalry. It's a rivalry. Who's strong, who's not. Um, following plans and all that kind of stuff. And that has gender has no implications on that kind of relationship. Similar with Vegeta and Goku, gender has no implications in that kind of relationship. Piccolo, main relationships are with Gohan and Goku, and maybe even Vegeta, but mainly Gohan and Goku, especially Gohan, which is more like a father figure, but that can simply be a parent figure. So gender has minimal impact on Piccolo and Gohan relationship. In contrast, Bulma and Vegeta, Bulma and Yamcha, Chi-Chi and Goku, those are gender dependent. Especially Bulma, Vegeta, Chi-Chi, and Goku, since at the end they have an offspring. It will create narrative challenges to try to solve that change. to resolve such a change. If let's say Goku is female and Chi-Chi remains female, how are they gonna have Gohan and Goten, right? Or they can make Chi-Chi male and problem solved. Something similar with Vegeta. But yeah, the interpersonal relationships, how much does gender play in that relationship? If it plays very little, then they're free to flip the gender without any consequences. In contrast, if it does, gender does play a part, they have to kind of like check what kind of narrative challenges will arise from it, and if, like I said, if they're willing to correct those challenges or not. I mean, if, like the first example, if Yamcha becomes female, the main challenge will be: should Bulma become male? Should there even be a relationship between Yamcha and Bulma, or still have the relationship between a female Yamcha and a female Bulma, and then later female Bulma will have a relationship with male Vegeta? So back to Saint Seiya, because those are the questions to think about. Which of the five will be best suited to change genders? The hardest one for there to be a gender change would be Seiya. And it mainly comes to because he is the main protagonist of the five. The story revolves more around Seiya. I mean, it's called Saint Seiya than the other four. So changing his gender will change the narrative a bit more. Okay, not the narrative itself, but I guess the optics of the narrative. Okay, being that we have the structure of the story is basically a band of five individuals, and if you make Seiya a female, you will have four males following one female. In itself is not okay. That is not bad, but it is narrative challenging in our current culture to pull off such a um, such a story without raising questions in gender. Being that, okay, the traditional sense that females are weaker than males and blah 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 whatever. Uh, so you have a team of four males being led by a female. I mean, technically, Athena leads all the saints. So, but I mean, like I said, this is an optics thing. It's not a narrative thing. It's an optics. It has to do more with marketing and all that kind of stuff, and like that thing that females can't sell a story or blah blah whatever. So are they willing to take that challenge, essentially? Similar kind of like Wonder Woman took that challenge, right? Creating a story with a female led by a female superhero. Because basically it was a challenge. I mean, It shouldn't have been a challenge, but it was a challenge. Man, vocabulary is very limited. I don't think those are the right words to express what I'm trying to say, but whatever. Anyway, but in interpersonal relationships, gender does not matter with the other four saints, but doesn't matter with Athena, who is female. I mean that one thing, there is like a pseudo romantic relationship between Athena and Seiya. I mean, there is no actual romantic relationship, but it does show that Seiya and Saori, which is Athena's human name, care for each other. And one way they show it is that Seiya calls her Saori rather than Athena. Being that Saori is the based on the story, and see, they already changed that part. Being that Seiya knew Saori as in their childhood. Well, I'm getting off topic, kind of, but I mean, how the world works is that the Athenians, not the Athenians, the Olympians get reincarnated every so often, and Athena was reincarnated in Saori Kido, and Seiya knew Saori Kido. And later on, Saori Kido assumed her role as Athena. But Seiya still keeps calling her Saori rather than Athena. I mean, everybody, well, not everybody else, not the rest of the Bronze Saints, but basically just about everybody else calls her Athena. Well, the main five call her Saori. But yeah, it does show that Saori does care for Seiya, and Seiya cares for Saori. Even though no Omega, it feels weird saying Saori in English. Saori is how we will say it in Spanish. Saori. Maybe that's why they changed her name to Sienna in the original English dub. Being that it was originally dubbed in English a long while back ago, and it failed, and on that one she was called Princess Sienna. Anyway, so it kind of does show a kind of semi-romantic relationship between those two. It is not a romantic relationship. There is no romance between those two. It could even be partially described as a brother-sister relationship. Okay, I'll think about it later. Anyway, so if changing Seiya's gender to female, it will mostly be in the optics rather than in the narrative, right? It will be a more, I guess, a marketing challenge than an actual narrative challenge. It wouldn't change the story too much, Just the main relationship between Saori and Seiya. That's it. So next will be Shiryu. The next one I will talk about will be Shiryu. What challenges, if any, or if they change the gender, Shiryu's gender, from male to female. And there will be quite a bit. Well, okay, not quite a bit. Being that he does have a romantic relationship with Sundre, another character. So, and I believe in Omega they have a child. I haven't seen Omega. So if they make Shiryu female, then they most likely have to make Sundre male. But that doesn't really change their dynamic at all. Rather, just besides the standard stereotypical male female whatever the part of the relationship are, basically, kind of. But yeah, it doesn't change their relationship at all. I mean, they're still in a relationship, just who's male who's female changes. It wouldn't really change the dynamics between the Saints or with Athena. One thing is that Shiryu is considered like the second in command. I mean, okay. Right now, let's ignore Ikki. That, well, Seiya is the leader. Shiryu is the strongest. Like, he's the strongest, he's like the wisest, and something like that. And so he kind of feels like the second in command. So now, making him female will place a female second in command. And that will be an interesting dynamic. Having Shiryu and Seiya maybe discuss stuff, getting conflicts with each other, things like that. Being that that is a narrative challenge, how to make a male-female confrontation without having the male seem overpowering, right? And two nifty examples how this problem was solved on The Incredibles, when Robert, right? That's his civilian name, Robert Parr. Is discussing about mediocrity and exception, mediocrity and being exceptional and being mediocre, right? That like just going from one grade to the next, and like how's that to actually let him compete to show up what he can do, rather than like celebrate something that's just given, sort of, right? So they come in that discussion, and Robert Parr, Mr. Incredible, who has super strength, is a very imposing individual. How can he not look like he is overpowering his wife. Helen Parr stretches, right? In order for her to take up more of the frame, for her to be at the same eye level as Robert Parr, maybe even higher. So that's how they solved that one. And another one that I want to point out how they solved it is with a gender swap Dr. Octavius on Spider-Verse. When talking with the very imposing Kingpin, similar to Robert Parr, he is big, he is imposing. So how can now the female Dr. Octavius talk to the Kingpin without feeling that she is unequal? That they both stand on equal footing. I mean, Tombstone is right next to them, and Tombstone seems small, like compared to Kingpin. So how to make female Dr. Octavius, right, live by her friends? I guess Kingpin is a friend. Be able to talk to Kingpin without making it seem like he is intimidating her. That he is overwhelmingly intimidating compared to her. And same way she uses her robotic appendages to lift herself up in the same eye level as the Kingpin. Where was I going with this? Oh yeah, Shiryu and Seiya they could have conflicts, right? If they cast Shiryu as a second in command, and it will be an interesting dynamic having him having those two argue. And like I said, usually the male-female argument is hard to make the male not overpower the female. And that will be a very interesting challenge for them to overcome. Will they use the same techniques that Pixar and Sony did for Helen Parr and man, I forgot her actual real name, Livia Octavius? Anyway, so yeah, with Shiryu as female, the main thing is just would Sundre become male? And yeah, and it will provide some interesting narrative challenges with him, or now her, being second in command to Seiya. The next one I want to talk to is Yoga. Again, his relationship between the other saints wouldn't change. Has no romantic interest. The other main interpersonal relationship he has, kind of, is that he has a dead mother that sank on a boat on a frozen water, I guess. So I guess she's being preserved by the cold water, and Yoga goes and visits her, right? And then we goes with Camus, his master, um, or his master's master, however you want to interpret it, either master or master's master. Decides to sink the boat even further so it's unreachable. But again, that's not too much gender dependent. It wouldn't change whether Yoga was male or female, that he has a dead parent. And then there's another main one that he has is with his master, Camus of Aquarius, whatever. And that's a master student relationship, which again is not dependent on genders. So yeah, absolutely nothing with Yoga. Yoga can switch gender freely. So then I'm gonna talk about the last two, but I'm already done drawing this character. I'm gonna draw something else while I talk. Yeah, I'm gonna color it actually. Now that I think of it, I'm gonna color it. Okay. So the last two are Shun and Iki. Reason I put them both at the end because they, unlike the other saints, they do have a more profound interpersonal relationship, being that they're brothers, or I guess in this context, they're siblings, because they could be brother and sister. So they are siblings. And right now, Shun being female makes a big brother, little sister dynamic, and if Iki were female, it will be a big sister, little brother dynamic, which are different. Because right now, the main dynamic between Iki and Shun is big brother, little brother, in which the big brother protects the little brother. If Iki becomes female, that'll be the big sister protecting the little brother. Which is an interesting narrative. The big sister defending the little brother. That will be something. I would think it will be something interesting to see, and it is also challenging to do. I mean, usually you have narratives of how the little brother's embarrassed because the big sister saved him or something like that. Being that yeah, and a big brother, big little brother, I mean the older brother is the stronger of the two. It's an easy sell. But if you have the sister being the stronger of the two, it is a harder sell. To have your big sister always be there saving you, But also, it will be narratively interesting, being that Iki is the strongest of the saints, physically strong, physically imposing. So it'll be interesting to see that the like such an intimidating character be female. I mean, that's one thing about Icky is that he is a lone wolf. He is apart from the other saints. He shows up whenever he's needed, I guess. As a matter of fact, he's the first villain of the series. Spoilers. He is the first villain of the series. And later he redeems himself and constantly keeps saving his brother. Right on the fight with Shaka, he comes in and saves him. A fight with Mina de Ventosh, comes in and saves him. There's a fight in Omega, I don't know with whom, but comes in and saves him. When he becomes Hades, comes in and saves him. So on and so forth. So yeah, you have a. It'll be interesting for the most powerful, intimidating character to be female, and also the narrative of big sister, little brother will also be interesting. But there's one more interpersonal relationship he has, and that is with a random girl named Esmeralda. Kind of. One thing about Iki's story is that he was sent to Death Queen Island. Death Queen Island. To earn his cloth. And it was brutal, and he went there instead of his brother. Right? He had a master. I believe his name was Guilty. That was brutal to him. And his master had a daughter named Esmeralda, who tended on his wounds, whatever was nice to him. And one thing about Esmeralda is that Esmeralda looked like a female version of Shun. Let's see if I can. Spoilers, she dies. Let me see if I can find. A good image of his face. Maybe no. There we go. That's an interesting one. T-Wing has this kind of like this type of hair, right? First, it switches, goes to the right. Then he had one that goes to the left. One that kind of starts going to the right and then again to the right, right? Here it goes to the left, right. Then a bit to the left, and then this one to the left. So basically, yeah, Esmeralda is basically a female version of Shun with blonde hair rather than green. Oh, so it is guilty. Slave? I guess. Okay, yeah, in the show it was Guilty's daughter. Maybe it's not the same in. Yeah, see, father in anime only. Who's Guilty? That's Guilty. Anyway, so there's a character that existed and basically is a female version of Shun, and they actually point that out, kind of. That she looks like Shun. And because Guilty killed her, the Iki became evil, or at least barely is more capable. I mean, he was kind of like not living up to the expectations of being cruel, I guess. And then to teach him a lesson, he Guilty killed Esmeralda, and in turn, Iki killed Guilty and earned his Phoenix Cloth. So, and then at a later point, when facing Cas de Lugnavis, you know what? Can I make it pink? How pink can I make it? Being that their hair color is normally red, if I make it actual pink, it won't look correct. But this doesn't look too bad. Anyway, so back to with Cas de Lugnavis, he has this power of illusion, tricking their opponent, and so on and so forth. So he tried it on Iki, pretended to be his brother. It failed. But then when he peered deeper into Iki's mind, he noted that he could have succeeded if only he would have pretended to be Esmeralda. Something like that. So that's for if Iki becomes female, then would they change Esmeralda's gender? I mean, they can make it that Esmeralda and female Iki were friends. Or actually, or the near romantic relationship they actually had. And they could make, being that, yeah, one of the main things is that she looks like Shun. So if they make Esmeralda male, he will look like Shun with a different hair color. But it will be interesting to tell, and I guess it will be more interesting after Seiya. I think that's the more risky one to make female, to make Iki female, being he is an imposing character, which is hard to make for female characters to make imposing female characters. I mean, they still can be done, but it is risky. Like I said with the previous two examples, they just had the female character have the ability to somehow get to eye level with the other characters. In the previous rant I did with Steven Universe, both Garnet and Rose are imposing as well. But now with Shun, why is Shun the worst one? Shun is the worst one simply because he is the easiest one. The most narrative challenging part of making Shun female will be her Esmeralda's likeness to Shun. Would it being that currently is just Esmeralda is basically like a female version of Shun, and if Shun becomes female, then would Esmeralda be just a different hair colored version of Shun? If they decide to keep Esmeralda at all, right? I mean, but besides that, there really isn't that many narrative challenges. There really isn't any. There isn't any narrative challenges, and but it's not just that. I mean, I mentioned that yoga doesn't have any narrative challenges at all either. But his narrative slips easily into a female gendered character. First off, he wears pink, right? I mean, I guess Iki also wears pink and then later wears purple. But I mean, he wears pink and then later magenta. Right? Magenta kind of female coded colors, right? If you want to make something look female, make it pink. So he already has that going to his femaleness. Again, him being confused with a female, or for a female to look like him, means that his design already is androgynous, at least. He is more feminine. So it's already not too hard. I mean, they can even just replace the original voice actor of Shun and just dub his lines with a female actress. And nobody will notice. And again, his relationship with Iki, a older brother, younger brother, will become an older brother, younger sister, which are not that different, right? When the older brother, the older sibling protecting the younger sibling, a younger brother protecting a younger sister is not too out there. It's not out there at all. It's expected. In contrast to the older female brother, of the older sister defending the younger brother. It's not. It's that relationship would be actually different. So it already lends itself to be a stereotypical female. Even to the point that he actually gets damsel. There's this nice list of opponents. What do you call it? Does it? It doesn't. It doesn't have Shaka the Virgo? Either way, with Shaka the Virgo, he was saved by Phoenix. Over here with Casa de Lunaves, again saved by Phoenix. Like I said in Omega, he was also saved by Phoenix. So there's they also don't have Mina de Venetosh. Was also saved by Phoenix. It doesn't have Mina de Venetosh. Let me see, let me search for him. Benenash. See, he faced Shun. Yes, during the battle with the Saint, he faced Andromeda Shun. But Iki defeated him. Yeah. So he started fighting Shun, but Iki is the one came to save his little brother, and that wouldn't be narratively different from him coming to save his little sister. In contrast, his big sister coming in to save his little brother. It has to that one has to deal with optics, meaning that how the current culture is loaded with male females in. Okay, like I said, like in a story in which you have the older sister saving the younger brother will not be out of place to like not feel comfortable by being saved by the older sister. Like it might make him himself seem weak by being saved by the older sister, right? Well, in contrast, a younger brother and a younger sister wouldn't be off by being saved by the older brother. Wouldn't be too complicated. It, so yeah, in summary, especially did I finish calling? Oh, I still have the hands and feet. So in summary, flipping Seiya would be a challenge, but not impossible. It just has to do more with the optics than narrative challenges. With Shiryu, again, it wouldn't be too challenging. They just had to gender swap Sundre if they don't want too many challenges, or they can just keep her the same and go Legend of Korra. With Yoga, they really don't have to do anything. And everything will still be the same. And then with Iki, it will be interesting having the most ferocious of the 5 be female. And with Shun, his narrative is already stereotypically female, so making Shun female wouldn't change much the narrative, but it wouldn't basically be placing a female in a stereotypical position. Like I said, he gets damseled a lot, right? In a way, but he gets saved a lot by Iki. He wears pink already. He is the pacifist. He's the most empathic of the 5. Right? He tries to resolve without fighting. More traditional, stereotypical female traits. So his narrative's already. That's why I said he is the easiest one. Simply because how his story is already fits a traditional female narrative. And in a way that's bad, especially it was given to a male character. Those traditional female aspects were given it to a male actor, so what could a male character? So why couldn't they give the new female saint more male characteristics? Like I said, Iki will be more interesting, but if they don't want to be more challenging, they could go with Yoga. And even Shiru would could be flipped without much challenge. And yeah, for Yoga and Shiru, they're changing their gender will have absolutely no significant impact in the story. With Shiro, it will have interesting optics, especially the fight between Seiya and Shiryu. That was epic. In the fight with Shiryu and Siegfried, uh, in which Shiryu learned of Siegfried's weakness and then pass on that knowledge to Seiya for him to take advantage of that knowledge. It has to be, it's purely in optics, though then again Shiryu is the huh no that yeah Shiryu, let me see, is there images of actually, yeah, there is. It's right at the beginning, him without a shirt. Being that there's this tattoo on his back. So I guess they will have to change that if they want some modesty. That he is the one that takes off his shirt the most. He took off his shirt against Shura, against I'll say Crystal de Crisal, against Seiya. I believe also Seiya had his shirt off as well. So yeah, this is against Crystal de Crisal. See, over here he has no shirt. No shirt on that previous one. So I guess that would be something that we have to change about him. Give him a shirt. So yeah, I just wanted to say that, put that stuff in something. And this just looks like a random character. It doesn't really say Shun or anything. Maybe it shouldn't have been a Discom. I could have probably made him a Mirai instead. Being that the thing that would have been interesting about Discom is has to deal how the gender dynamics in Discom culture, which I'm gonna talk about later. And is this character male or female? One way that you can tell is by the ears. The ears can help determine if the character is male or female. Which actually I made them big over here. Actually they look more like female ears, but they could also be male ears. Anyway. So yeah, again, Yoga will pose the least challenge of making him female. Shiryu will be interesting, being that again he's the second in command. He's the one of the strongest characters. Though, like I said, he has a relationship with Sunrei. Does it say over here? There you go, Sunrei. Which can easily be fixed by just flipping her as well. being he is the child of Shiro and Sunre, which could still happen if they flip both of their genders. So again, it wouldn't be that challenging. With yoga, absolutely nothing. The biggest relationship is between a master and student, which is not gender dependent. Then as was its dead mother, which again is a parent child, which is not gender dependent. It really doesn't. Uh, Especially the parent is dead. There really is nothing gender brings into the table. So yeah, with yoga there is no challenge. With Seiya, mainly this relationship with uh, Athena's with Saori. Uh, do, 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 do. Oh, and also, oh yeah, he has a sister, Seika, and actually there's one has also a relationship with Marin and with uh, okay, there's a girl from the orphanage. I forgot who she was. And with China, there we go. So he actually has more. So again, well, it has Seika as his sister, which wouldn't change much. I mean, she barely even appears. She appears on the last on Hades. Then again, as with Eagle Marin, again with Seiya is a teacher student. Nothing else. And there is this very light romantic something with China, between China and Seiya. She demonstrated that she has feeling for Seiya. So he does have the most relationships between female characters, and two of them, like I said, with Athena, a pseudo romantic, and with China, a more romantic one. At the very least, an unrequited romantic. Relationship. Okay, so and then with Iki and Shun, like I said, Iki with Shun is a more stereotypical female, so it really doesn't gain much trying to bring diversity into the group by making the most female character of the five into a female, and then one of the most manliest character into a female, Iki. Like I said, he's even the first villain uh, in Saint Seiya. Iki is the first villain. So yeah, I just want to say that. That's it.